Yo, what's good, everybody? And today we're going to be saying our final goodbye to Aaron Rodgers of the New York Jets, formerly. So, it was released, the report was released a little bit prior to the Super Bowl earlier in the day that Aaron Rodgers, after speaking with Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji for the past few days, and however long since they took power, they will be choosing to no longer bring him back. As though Rodgers wanted to come back, the personalities and the vision of the organization and the new regime clashed with his vision as to what he wanted to accomplish upon return to the New York Jets. And let's just put it out there right now. I'm incredibly happy with this decision. As Aaron Glenn said when he first took power, and Muji also first took power at that press conference, this is not about Aaron Rodgers, folks. This is about the roster. This is about the team. This is about the freaking New York Jets. This is not about Aaron Rodgers. And that's what was happening for too long. A lot of people see this as a power move for Aaron Glenn to take control back of the team, back to the team officials. However, I don't see it that way, because it came out from Diana Orsini as inaccurate and as biased as her reports generally tend to be. This one seems to be the only source of information that we have so far on this the inner workings of what happened behind the scenes when they're negotiating. So I guess one of the deal breakers was that Rodgers could no longer go on the Pat McAfee show and discuss New York Jets football operations and roster construction and success and keys to the inner workings of the organization on the Pat McAfee show and also other public outlets. The other thing was that Rodgers will be very strictly held to the same standard as what other players on the team are held to. For example, no missing training camp that is optional, or maybe not optional. No missing training camp sessions if you are going to be the captain of this ship when it comes to this football team. There's no you've had a long off season to think about things, but you need to go on a darkness retreat, or you need to go on some excursion out to Egypt to disappear for a week to 2 weeks and set that bad example just to get your mind right spiritually for the season. So you can't practice with the team because even though you had all off season to do that, you can't practice with the team this coming week when everybody else is going to be practicing. There's none of that. None of that under Aaron Glenn's regime. Love it. Love it. Somebody on Twitter, very vocal on Twitter, said, "This is the Jets telling Aaron Rodgers. This is the Jets telling Aaron Rodgers, we're going to tell you who you need, who you can and can't talk to, who you can and can't be friends with." Get a fucking grip. No. Get a fucking grip when it comes to that. Stop playing the victim card. You're being soft if you're going to tell me that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are going to be these bosses that tell you who you can and can't be friends with. No, because it directly influences the media's perception of the team and also influences team morale and team operational success to do what you are doing. Playing the victim card is not a good look here and not a strong argument if I'm to say so myself. Then we have other people vocal on Twitter. There's one user in particular who I will not say their name, his or her name. There's one user who is very active on Twitter about Rodgers propaganda, spewing, Rodgers love, Rodgers glazing, Rodgers dick riding. So heartbroken about Rodgers. Oh my God, we just gave away the best chance ever at a championship next year. Oh my God, he's going to go ball out and be the MVP on another team. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? I won't say this person. I won't say these people who are saying this stuff. Was Rodgers necessarily the best chance we had at competing next year? I genuinely don't think so. Because we're not talking about people. We're not talking about, okay, a guy who came to this team out of the goodness of his heart and wanted to be here for the right reasons, because as we've revealed, that wasn't the case. We're not talking about a guy who came and made the playoffs with us, won the Super Bowl, and won MVP. He has done none of those things. Rodgers has had 18 starts, 1 Achilles tear, and 5 wins. 5 wins. 5 if you're not including the game where he almost died. Okay? 5 wins. And we would be dedicating up to $80 million in cap space to him if he were to return next year. For a 41, almost 42-year-old quarterback. His counting stats to end the season, they were pretty good. I'll give you that. What were his counting stats to end the season? He was... Excuse me. He had 3,900 passing yards, 28 touchdowns on 11 interceptions, for a 5-12 record on 63% completion. Pretty good towards the end of the season. He was performing. He looked much more like what we're used to seeing from him. There was some life to the offense towards the end of the season. We got a couple good, a couple wins off, and people say we should run it back due to that. Let's go into the advanced stats when it comes to that, okay? Rich Cimini, qualified Jets beat writer, gave some cold hard facts on Rodgers to compare with the counting stats that you see on Face. Quarterback rating in 2024 amongst all qualified passers. Quarterback rating, he was 25th in the NFL. Completion percentage, he was 30th in the NFL. Completion over expected, he was 34th in the NFL. Yards per attempt, he was 28th in the NFL. Touchdown to interception ratio, 14th in the NFL. And off-target percentage, 24th in the NFL. So, you want to run it back after hearing those advanced stats? I'm sorry, you're crazy. At times, he was bottom 5, bottom 7, bottom 4, even worse than that in some cases, in major advanced stat categories. He was bottom half in touchdown to interception ratio as well. And most importantly, his record was 5-12. He did not contribute to wins. He did not make plays that won games. And people are going to say, the coaching, he was coming off injury, he's aging, he didn't have great players, the defense was ass. All I'm hearing is excuses for Aaron Rodgers. You're being Rodgers apologists when you say that. None of which what I'm hearing is anything past he threw for 3,900 yards. You have not showed me why Aaron Rodgers at 41 years old, is going to be a quarterback that wins us games en route to at least the playoffs. You have not proven to me why he would do that. So running it back is absolutely ludicrous. Okay? And even let's talk about his glorious 5 wins that he accomplished for us last season. His wins were against Will Levis Levi's Jeans and the Titans. One of the worst teams in the league, now have the number 1 pick. Tyler Huntley and the Dolphins. Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. In which once Drake May, a rookie quarterback, came in and decided to step in and play that game versus us, we lost. And Jacoby Brissett, after Drake May went out, Jacoby Brissett threw the game-winning touchdown on our fucking heads. So we split 1-1 with those Patriots, with Jacoby Brissett's Patriots. Then Mac Jones and the Jaguars. There's no way you're going to convince me that that's a good, competent team to win against, to get a great win out of. Those were his wins, plus a fluke versus the Texans, who, as we know, were inconsistent for most of the year and did not look like the Texans of the previous year. So we had one good win in my book. One good win. And plenty of games that were manageable to win that we should have won. But we didn't because Rodgers didn't make the plays to win. So good riddance, Rodgers. You had a good season in your age 41 year. You had a good season for yourself. What came of it? Are you a winner? Or are you an aging, washed up player who's just going to show if he has some juice left in the tank? We can't mortgage our future in a new regime on that. We cannot waste another year of Garrett Wilson's time. I would even be much, much more happy with the idea of us trading up and getting a Cam Ward, or even picking a quarterback in the second or third round that we're going to roll out for next year. Because even if we play bad, and we're not a good team, to me, if I'm a guy like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, those types of guys, if I'm a guy like that, I'm much going to prefer that world, because even though we had a bad season, even though we had a 4 or 5 win season with a rookie quarterback who showed flashes of brilliance just like Rodgers did sometimes, at least we have something to look forward to. Look at Drake May. Look at Michael Penix. Look at Caleb Williams. All these quarterbacks didn't make the playoffs in their rookie season. Okay? The Falcons being in a very comparable situation to us because they had Kirk Cousins. They benched him for Michael Penix. Michael Penix came in, and they have a very talented core of talented young skill position players that can lead them into the future. Okay? Even though Michael Penix didn't lead them to the playoffs, they at least have something to look forward to. And that's what we need to bet ourselves on. This new regime needs to make a statement, and they need to do it without all of the distractions. Bring in a guy who's going to lead as a young movement, and we have something to look forward to for the future. Even if we do bad, with Rodgers, all we're doing is punting on a future for another year, which is, again, going to be another subsequent year of being the worst year of Garrett Wilson's life. We can't afford that. That's my 2 cents. And might I remind you, before anybody says anything nasty in the comments right here, before anybody says anything, just remember, you want to run it back when it comes to a 41-year-old quarterback who was terrible in the advanced stat metrics, had good counting stats, yes, but did not make plays that were necessary for us to win. Coaching aside, if you're Aaron Rodgers and you are great, you're going to back your shit up. And you did not. So you want to mortgage our futures for another year on a 5-win season of running it back. There's nothing much else I can say. I'm going to move on from this. It's my final goodbye to you, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you for what you've done while you've been here. And I'm not saying you're not going to have another good couple years of your career. I'm saying you very well could, but it's just no longer working as far as the fit goes in New York. Thank you for what you've done for us. I wish you the best. But I got to sit down and just air out what's best for my team, or what I believe to be the best for my team. And a lot of people are going to call me stupid in the comments, especially a lot of Jets Twitter. But think logically before you do so. Take a step back and just think and look at the stats. Look at everything that's involved, not just how many yards he threw and how many touchdowns he threw. Thank you. Peace.